today?
We're here.
Excellent. You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You could read? Thank you. I project. So, my name is Steve Weiss, and I am the president of the Institute for Dignity and Grace. The Institute for Dignity and Grace is a nonprofit that I started and co-founded with Nicole Peretti here in 2016. The reason why we started this nonprofit is because for the last 15 years of my life, I have served the elderly community. And everybody here in this community, this is a good community. Right? Like, is this a good place?
So far.
So far, so good, right? This is a good one. However, during the 15 years of my career so far, I have been in places where it's not good. And so because I'm very passionate for all people as a minister, I want to make sure that every person, when their time of need comes, they're able to get the care and the attention that they need so they can age in place with dignity and grace. And so that's why I started the Institute for Dignity and Grace. I have been speaking at conferences and conventions. Our number one mission is advocacy for the elderly and to help improve the quality of care across the board all around our great country here. So that's the reason why I started this. Nicole, the co-founder of the Institute with me, hers is more of a personal reason. As her father was a veteran, he was misdiagnosed with cancer, and he ended up suffering for a long period of time when he shouldn't have because it was overlooked. And we all know people who have been in that type of a situation. That's why we're here today. Along my career path, I came across Dr. Laurel Geis, who's going to be presenting, and I'm going to turn it over to her in a moment. What Dr. Laurel Geis is, she's a doctor of theology, and she has spent the last 15 plus years of her life developing brain training techniques and strategies through mindfulness practices that help to improve our cognitive function, improve our memory, improve our blood pressure, and other great things to help improve our overall quality of life. And so I'm very good friends with Laura, who works here. I asked her if we could come in and do this activity for you. And so if we could just put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Dr. Laurel Geis.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Look what Helen just taught me. Yes? So, I love you. And so grateful to be here today. And I do want to thank Steve and Nicole, because I actually live in St. Petersburg, Florida. And so they actually paid for me to fly up here yesterday so that I could spend this time with you. So can we give them some appreciation for doing that? Very grateful, very grateful. So during our time together today, I am going to teach you some very simple tools that you can use to literally rewire your brain. So by a show of hands, how many of you have heard of mindfulness? Have you heard about mindfulness? Okay. Or have you heard about meditation? Meditation? Yes. So mindfulness is literally a form of meditation. It's just shorter moments, okay? And what I find, I speak across the country, is that mindfulness is everywhere now. It's everywhere. It's in sports teams, it's in business, it's on television, it's in magazines. So how many of you have ever watched, let's say, like Good Morning America? Has anyone here ever watched that show? Or the Today Show? All of those people are practicing mindfulness. So it's becoming, something that's very common, and that's why we wanted to bring this to you. Something very simple. And how many of you know Maria Shriver? You know Maria Shriver, yes? So Maria Shriver, yeah? So Maria Shriver has a crusade against Alzheimer's. And her number one message is practice mindfulness. this is what she is sharing with audiences. So we're going to share this with you here today. Okay? Yes?
Yes.
And I promise you that by the time we finish this training, you're going to know 3 very simple tools that you can use every day. In fact, starting today, because we're going to do this together. Okay? Yes? So let's say, what is mindfulness? What is mindfulness? This is a definition by Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. He is a gentleman from the University of Massachusetts Medical School who over 40 years ago started to teach mindfulness to patients in hospitals. Okay, this is really where it started here in the United States. And here's a very simple way of thinking of mindfulness. It's just how you pay attention. It's just how we're paying attention. And there's 3 parts to it. So the first is on purpose. Okay? So what that means is I'm focusing my attention on purpose right now on you. Okay? So I'm choosing, that's where my focus is. The second is in the moment. So right now, you are in the moment with me. We are all here right now together. And when we talk about in the moment, here's what we mean. We're not thinking about the past, okay? When we think about the past, we can get emotions that come up. Like emotions like maybe regret or guilt or shame, but there's some emotions that are playing in our past. And when we think about the future, so when I think about the days ahead, I can become anxious. I can become stressed. So what research has proven is that when you can focus your attention right here, right now, that helps you to lower your stress, lower anxiety, lower overwhelm. Is that making sense to everyone? Yes? So being here and focusing here, and without judgment. So what we know, and we're going to talk in a moment about getting your buttons pushed and getting upset. What we know is that once we begin to practice mindfulness, we can choose how we want to respond because we're there in the moment, rather than reacting mindlessly. Okay? So I'm going to choose how I respond versus react mindlessly. Okay? So, another definition of mindfulness is that mindfulness is called situational awareness. I love your brain. Like he brought his own brain with him. I love that. Thank you for bringing the brain. So situational awareness means being more aware of what's happening around you and inside of you. Okay? So focusing your attention on what's going on outside of you and also inside of you. Okay? So let's do a mindful moment together. All right? So this is going to be very simple. All I want you to do is simply close your eyes in a moment. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, I would invite you to just put your hands in your lap and then gaze down at your hands, okay? So either close your eyes or focus your attention on your hands and put your hands in your lap, all right? So let's go ahead and do this. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. If it feels better to look at your hands, just put your focus on your hands, okay? And now with your eyes closed or focusing on your hands, I want you to move your attention to your breath. Okay? So just sense your breath, not changing it in any way, but just being aware of your breath. This is part of having your attention on purpose, in the moment, on your breath. Okay? We're going to do this together for about a minute. I'm going to keep track of the time. So just relax, focus into your breath. Okay. focusing on your breath, I'm going to invite you to bring your attention into this moment. Letting go of what happened this morning or yesterday, and not projecting into what may happen tomorrow, but being here right now with me. Now, before you open your eyes, I'm going to invite you to very gently, just move your head from side to side. Very slowly, very gently, side to side. I would like you to wiggle your fingers, and let's wiggle our toes. Let's wiggle our toes. And bringing our awareness, our attention back into this moment, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes. How does that feel? Feel a little more in the moment right now? A little more relaxed? Good? All right, beautiful. So who am I, and why should you even be listening to me today, right? So I'm Dr. Laurel Geis, and I spent 30 years in corporate America, and I've also been teaching mindfulness and meditation for over 20 years. I'm a professional speaker and trainer, and I'm also the co-founder of Mindful Caring. And that's the company that Steve and I co-founded together to bring mindfulness into healthcare. So would it be okay if I share a story with you? Yes? Would be all right? So here I am. This is the office that I used to have. So I was in the corner office here and looking out over Tampa Bay in Florida. And one day, I just felt this calling that there was more for me to do in life. And that's the day I decided to leave that corporate job and start a company to bring mindfulness into organizations. Well, what I realized was that I was not a very good speaker. In fact, I was very boring. So I decided to take some speaker training. And I took the speaker training, and that's when I met Steve, who introduced me. Now I'm in Florida, Steve's here in New Jersey, and Steve has a conference where he invites business owners, and he asked me, would I come and speak? And would I share mindfulness? And I said, yes, I would. So here we are in Philadelphia, right, in 2016, and that was the first time that I had spoken about mindfulness in the healthcare field. Before that, I was always focused on tech companies and large financial institutions, and the audience loved it so much, they said, would you develop something for us, for healthcare? And we said, yes, we will. And that's when we became partners. And look, we even have matching jackets. Yeah? Look at that. And we started Mindful Caring, which is where we bring mindfulness practices, like some of what we're going to learn today, into healthcare programs so we can deliver better quality care and have improved patient outcomes. And as Steve mentioned, with Mindful Caring, we give 10% of all of our profits to the Institute for Dignity and Grace. And this is the organization that sponsored me to come here today. So I love doing this work. I love meeting people like you and sharing this. And I'm very blessed because I also have the opportunity to work with Steve and Nicole and Nick and a wonderful team of people, very heart-centered and want to give back. And that's why we're here today. So thank you for your time. So today, I would like to talk about 3 steps to success. 3. So the first one is, what is mindfulness and why should we even use it, right? Then we're going to get into the brain training and we're going to talk about doing this every day. So, A moment ago, we talked about mindfulness. It's just paying attention in a specific way. So on purpose, being here in the moment, right here, right now, without judgment. Without judgment is allowing the moment to arise and then choosing how I respond to it instead of reacting. When I think about mindfulness, I like to contrast it to mindlessness. Mindlessness. So there was a Harvard research study that said that we spend, as human beings, all of us, spend 47% of our day in a state of mindlessness. So you're probably thinking, well, Laurel, what is that? What is that? Okay? So let's use a few examples. By a show of hands, how many of you have ever driven somewhere and you got there and you don't know how you drove there? Yes? Yes. How many of you have ever watched a movie and you get done with the movie and you have a discussion with someone and they saw the movie completely different from you and there were parts that perhaps you don't remember? Yes, it happens to all of us. And how many of you have ever read something? So let's say I'm reading a magazine and I read it and I can't remember what I read. Yes. Yeah, it happens all the time. That's mindlessness. And the reason that's happening is why? It's because your attention is not focused. Like you have the movie in front of you, or I have the magazine in front of me, but my mind is thinking about something else. Does that make sense? So when we practice mindfulness, it helps us to focus on that moment, and that's how it helps our memory. That's how it helps our cognitive function. And I believe the reason that mindfulness is so popular now, so popular, is the science. There's been over 6,000 research studies on mindfulness, telling us that with mindfulness, we know from a neuroscience perspective that we can improve our focus when we practice mindfulness. We can improve our memory. We literally improve our relationships when we use mindful listening. It helps me with my cardiovascular health because I'm lowering my stress, lowering my anxiety, lowering my overwhelm to benefit my heart. And it also helps to boost our immune system and help us to heal quicker. So that's a lot of really great benefits, yes? From doing a practice that we just do a few minutes a day. We also know, as I mentioned, we can reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, but it also helps with insomnia. So how many of you have ever had insomnia? I know I do. So it can also help with that. So there's a lot of benefits, and that's why I'm here today. That's why I flew here from Florida to be with you here today, because there's so many benefits, and it's going to be a simple practice you're going to do just a couple times a day. So here is the science. So who here likes science? Yes? I love science. So here's the science behind what's happening. It's called neuroplasticity. Has anyone heard of that? Neuroplasticity? So what this is it's your brain's ability. This is what research has proven. It's your brain's ability to rewire itself. Okay? And we can do this at any age. Any age. So it helps you to rewire your brain. And what science has shown us is that the default network that we have in our brain, so what's there when we're born and as we normally live life, what they have found is that is a negative worldview, if you can believe that. It's more negative than positive. And what we know with mindfulness is that when we practice mindfulness, we actually become happier because we're changing the way our brain is wired. Is that making sense? And it's very simple. In fact, the latest research says that if you would practice mindfulness 8 minutes a day, that's it, 8 minutes a day, for 8 weeks, they can measure the change in your brain. They can measure the changes in your brain. And there is a neuroscientist called Dr. Hebb, and here's what he said. He said that what fires together, wires together. So when you think about the practices that we're going to do together, what's happening is that we're doing this repetitive type of training, which helps these neural circuits to actually rewire so that you can be more focused and have the benefits of mindfulness. So it's really that simple. Now, there's something I want to share with you. There's something called the telomere effect, and I don't know, has anyone heard of this? This is new science, yes? So there's Nobel Prize winning research, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. And there's Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, and in her Nobel Prize winning research, here's what she found. She found that in our DNA, in your chromosomes, okay? In your chromosomes, you have a chromosome, and at the end of every chromosome is something called a telomere. So, how many of you have ever tied your shoes? Everyone? Yes? And when you tie your shoes, and we look at our shoelaces, at the end there's that little plastic part. Yes? So that's how I look at a telomere. So we look at our chromosomes, and at the end, there's these little caps, just like on our shoelaces. Now here's what happens. As we age, and as the cells replicate, what we find is that these telomeres get shorter and shorter. And that's literally why we age. But the good news is that the research is showing that by practicing mindfulness and practicing meditation, we can stop the shortening and we can actually reverse it. So again, Nobel Prize winning research. If you can spend a few minutes a day doing what I'm about to teach you, this can actually stop the shortening of the telomeres and eventually make them longer, right? So who doesn't want that, right? Then we're healthier, right? So let's talk about some of the health benefits of mindfulness. So again, lowering our blood pressure for a healthier heart, enhances our well-being, reducing chronic pain, okay, decreasing anxiety and overwhelm, and being better able to handle stress when it comes up in our life, and rewiring our brain for better focus, but also for more happiness, to go into that happier state, improving our memory and our cognitive function. So let me ask you this. Are these enough benefits for you to want to maybe try mindfulness? Yes? Okay, good. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to learn a few practices together. And I want to talk about focused attention. Now, there's a lot of different kinds of mindfulness. There's focused attention, and there's open awareness, and there's guided visualizations, yes? But we're specifically today, right now, going to talk about the focused attention practice. Because for us, that's what we want to work on rewiring our brain, okay? So here's the mechanics of how it works. Very simple. So we begin by following our breath, and we're going to do this together in a moment, okay? So here's what we do. We begin by following our breath. And did you know that you have 60,000 thoughts a day? Isn't that amazing? And do you know that we have thoughts all day long and all night long? Because we're dreaming. So really our thoughts never stop. So when I ask you to close your eyes and begin to focus on your breath, guess what happens? We have thoughts, right? So I'm going to start thinking about, well, I wonder what we're having for dinner, and oh, I want to do this later on, and what about tomorrow? So I notice there's a distraction. So I'm focusing on my breath, and then I start thinking about something, and when I notice that I'm not focusing on my breath, that's when I bring my attention back to the breath. It's that simple. That's the practice. Focusing awareness on my breath as I'm breathing, And then when I become aware that I'm thinking about something, or maybe I'm hearing something in the environment around me. So like today we have this beautiful rain. I can hear the rain, right? And I know my thoughts have gone to that a couple of times as I'm speaking to you. So I can hear the rain, I can hear people talking. Anything like that, as soon as I know I'm not focusing on my breath, I just stop and start focusing on my breath again. That's all there is to it. It's very simple, but it's hard because you have to sit down and do this for 5 minutes a day. Okay? So who wants to try it together? Yes? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep track of the time. So I have a clock here. And I'm going to invite you, to the best of your ability, to sit up straight in your chair. And the reason is this, because when you sit up in your chair, it actually alerts your body to pay attention. And it alerts your body that something's about to happen, and in our circumstance, we're going to start our practice together. So let me get my stopwatch, there it is. So again, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. You're going to begin to focus on your breath, and as you do, you're going to have different thoughts in your mind. You may feel some emotions in your body. You may hear things in the environment around us, and every time you recognize that you're not focused on your breath, I want you to bring your attention back. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes? Do we have it? Can we do it? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right, so sit up straight in your chairs. You can just relax your hands in your lap. So again, this is a relaxing practice. If you find yourself like this and you're really tense, that's not this. I want you to be relaxed and just focus on your breath. So let me start our timer. So I'll invite you now to just close your eyes. Close your eyes. And if that doesn't feel comfortable to you, just lower your gaze and look at your hands that are in your lap, okay? So either your eyes are closed or you're looking at your hands in your lap. And you're going to begin now to focus on your breath. Just sensing your breath. So not making it go faster or slower, but just breathing normally. Feeling your breath going in and out. And as we're practicing our mindfulness brain training together, you're going to notice that you'll have different thoughts that come in your mind. Or you might hear something in the environment around us. And when you do, I'm going to invite you to use your attention to bring your awareness back to your breath. Okay. So we're going to practice together for 5 minutes. And I'm going to keep track of the time. So just keep your eyes closed. Continue to focus your awareness on your breath. And know that as we're doing this together, we are literally rewiring our brain. And we are getting all of the benefits that I spoke of, simply by focusing on your breath. Remember, when your attention wanders to different sounds in the environment or different thoughts in your mind, just recognize that And bring your attention back to your breathing. Just always bring your attention back to your breath. Starts to focus on different thoughts or focus on things you're hearing around us. Just acknowledge that and then go back to focusing on your breath. Now keep your eyes closed for a moment. And I would like you to move your head very gently, very softly, just from side to side. Okay? Very gently moving your head side to side. Bringing our awareness back into the room. I'd like you to wiggle your fingers. So move your fingers, again, bringing the awareness back in your body. And wiggling your toes so we can feel our attention and our awareness coming back into the room. And now when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes. So how was that? Pretty simple, huh? Well, congratulations. You are already starting to rewire your brains. Good job. Good job. And would anyone like to share their experience? What was going on during those 5 minutes together? Anyone?
You were the guy at the front desk on the phone?
You were hearing that? Yes. And then what did you do?
Got rid of it.
Listen, right? And then say, I'm not focusing on my breath, and bring my awareness back. Exactly. Because what we find is every time we move into a place of quiet, guess what? Everything gets really loud, right? Everything gets louder. So we become aware of more things. But that's okay. So we can practice our mindfulness like this anywhere. You can practice by yourself for 5 minutes, or you could practice in a group like this. Just all start together in 5 minutes and share that experience. So would anyone else like to share something? Yes, please.
I had pain.
You had pain.
Yeah.
You were aware of pain.
We're trying to get back to the breath.
To the breath, yes. So, and that's exactly how, by going back to the breath and refocusing your attention from the pain to the breath, that's what helps that pain to actually diminish, because you're choosing where to put your focus. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's thank you for sharing, because that's a very good example of something happening in the body, that I'm feeling it in the body, but now we're going to use our mind to bring our attention back to the breath.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Very good. Would anyone else like to share? Yes, please.
That's what I use to fall asleep every night.
Do you really? Just like that? And does it work?
Focus up, oh yeah, beautiful.
Beautiful. All right. So it helps you go to sleep. Wonderful. Just focusing on your breath, right? Very good. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Yes? Oh, she takes a sleeping pill. Okay, go.
Get off.
Yes.
Focus on where your chest moves or whether you,
That's a really good question. Okay, so the question is, when you're sensing your breath, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on your chest, like feeling the air come in and out of your chest? Or are you focusing on feeling the air come into your nose? The answer is it can be any of those. So that's why I like to say sense your breath the way that you would like to sense it. For me, I focus on the air coming in and out of my nose because that gives me a specific point to focus on and I find it easier. But I also have some friends that focus on their breathing because what we find is that most of us, we take very shallow breaths. And when we practice mindfulness, we can start to take bigger, deeper breaths, which are healthier for us, yes? So it's whatever works for you. Does that help? Okay, good. So, and then practicing and trying it out. Okay, good. Well, I'm so excited. There we go. We're already practicing our mindfulness together. How easy was that? Easy. And could you see yourself doing this for 5 minutes a day? Yes, right? I mean, this is very simple to do. It could be when you wake up. It could be before you go to sleep. It could be in the afternoon. It could be before a meal. It's really easy just to do this for 5 minutes. And remember, the research says if we do this for 8 minutes, and I know I'm pushing you, but if you did it for 8 minutes, you can start to measure the difference in your brain. So you can make the choice to do this for 10 minutes at a time. There you go, you're rewiring your brain. And it's the consistency over time that give you the benefits, okay? So it's one of those things that it builds. So that's why doing it every day is important. So the longer you do this, the more you start to see the benefits. Yes?
I do meditation every
Beautiful.
day, and it just calms me down.
It's beautiful, right?
Yes.
Yes. I've been meditating for 23 years now. Yes. How long have you been
I've
meditating?
been meditating for
50 years. And it makes a difference. And so you can see how mindfulness is like a subset of meditation because it's shorter. But if you practice every day, you can start to get these benefits. And would you live a day without meditation? No, you would not. No, me neither. Yes. So it's one of those practices. So here we have, in your name?
My name is Connie Morris.
Connie. So here we already have someone in your community that could help to lead this mindfulness practice. Look at that. Thank you, Connie. She's our girl, right there. Community support. All right, so any other questions? Yes, please.
A number of years ago, transcendental meditation was
Yes.
very popular.
Yes,
A lot of people, including myself, were taking it.
yes,
Of course, we noticed that
Yes.
I don't see anything different, basically.
yes.
Rather focus on a mantra.
A mantra, exactly.
It's not that much difference.
There is not that much
The
difference.
thing is, you got to be really disciplined to do it
The-
every day.
Yes, so it takes discipline to do it every day, and that's it right there. And you're right, transcendental meditation, like I studied with Deepak Chopra, so he was teaching primordial sound meditation. He was my teacher, and it's the same thing. It's just they give you something different to focus on than your breath. But I like focusing on the breath because it's easy. The same process though, same process. So it's the discipline, it's the consistency over time. We all want the benefits, but it's doing it every day. And I think that's where you have a tremendous opportunity here because you live in this beautiful community. And how easy would it be for you to have this practice a couple of times a day? And we'll have to talk to your activities director on, how could we integrate that, but everyone getting together for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and supporting each other, because I find it's easier if you have support. It's easier if I know I'm going to meet with the group and I'm going to try this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Yes. So thank you for that comment. It's absolutely true. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
In reference to the telomeres, is
Yes.
that confined to your brain only?
It's your whole body.
Okay.
It's the whole body. Yeah, because it's in your cells, so it's in your DNA. It's in your DNA. It's how your DNA replicates. And it's interesting because I remember talking to Deepak Chopra about that 25 years ago when they were just starting to do research on the telomeres. And then Elizabeth Blackburn got the Nobel Prize for her research a couple years ago. And that book came out. And it's interesting because the book called The Telomere Effect, if you get that book and read it, it's about living mindfully. So it's like doing these practices every day is a big component of that. So thank you. All right. Good. Any more questions or any more shares? Yes.
I do that before I get my blood pressure, okay?
Aha. And your name?
Joe Hannaford, I work here.
She's getting it done before she gets her blood pressure taken. There you go. Right?
So make sure she doesn't yell at us.
So again, it actually will lower your blood pressure for make your heart healthy, right? And that's important to all of us, right? For that heart health. So, all right. So let me ask you this: by a show of hands, how many of you feel like you could do this for 5 minutes a day? Yes. Yes. So I want you to look around at everyone that is saying yes, because I have to go back to Florida, so I won't be here to help you. But I would like you to make sure that you offer this and you support each other in doing this every day. Yes, we can do that?
Yes.
Yes, we can. I love it. All right, want to move on to our next tool? So that's tool number 1. So tool number 2 is called mindful listening. Now this is another way to practice focused attention, mindful listening. So with mindful listening, what we do is we give that focused attention to someone when they're talking to us, all right? We're not judging what they are saying, but I'm aware, just like in the practice we just did, that if my attention is wandering, I come back to the conversation that we're having, that I'm listening to. I remember when I first started these practices, I was at work, and I thought, I'm a pretty good listener. And I remember a woman came up, and she was from marketing, and she was telling me all this information, and as she was talking to me, I was thinking, well, you know, after work, I have to go pick up my dry cleaning, and then I'm going to have this for dinner, and I recognized I wasn't even listening. And this is what happens, and it's not intentional. It's just that 47% of our day is in that state of mindlessness, so I'm not focusing my awareness where I want to. So this is a really simple practice that we're going to share together, but to do this, we need to have a partner, okay? So I would like everyone to find a partner. So find a partner, okay? And we're going to practice, yes, partners. Do we have partners? Partners. You're going to need someone to talk to. And if you don't have a partner, put your hand up. So we'll make sure that you get a partner. Partners? Do you have a partner? Huh? Well, you will need one because, well, I guess I could let you talk to yourself, but I'd rather you talk to a partner. So I'm good. Yes, right here. Could you be partners? Yes, would you? Be open? Yeah. Yes? 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 And there's a chair right back there by Nancy, so maybe we could have you sit there so you can talk. So here's the practice. Oh, do we have a partner over here?
You're going to talk to each other.
Right here? Okay. All right. And again, I am not going to be responsible for you sitting here talking to yourself, okay? So you need a partner. Okay, everybody has a partner. So this is based on what we just did. When you were focusing your attention on your breath, you were on purpose focusing your attention. This is another way to do this. This is called mindful listening. So here's how it goes. Okay, so we need a partner A and a partner B. So decide who wants to be partner A, and I want you to put your hand in the air so I know we have a partner A. Decide amongst yourselves. Yes, partner A, partner A, partner A, okay, good. Partner A, thank you very much. Okay, all right, partner A.
Okay.
You don't have a partner? Nick, can you come over and be a partner? Oh, you're doing that. No. Do you have a partner? Who doesn't have a partner? Yes. Well, no, because I'm going to give you each 3 minutes to talk. So we would be out of whack. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I talked with her already. Okay. All right. Now you two are partners, right? You're partners, but you're not sitting near each other.
No.
So how can we fix that?
One of us can move.
When somebody can move?
But then if somebody else will have to move.
Just move, Ann.
No. Here. I'll put a chair right here for you. How's that? Here you go. Come on. I'm going to put you here. Chair this way, so you can look at it, okay? And you have a partner right
When I
there?
get up there, sometimes I need this.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So here's how this works. The partner A, you're going to talk for 3 minutes. I'm going to keep track of the time, okay? So partner A, you can talk about anything you want to talk about, okay? Anything at all. And I want you to talk for 3 minutes. And partner B, I want you to listen. But I want you to listen like we just practiced our mindful breath awareness, okay? I want you to really listen to what the other person is saying. And when there's distractions, like noises like that, I want you to be aware of it, but bring your attention back to the person you're talking to, okay? And then we're gonna switch. So the speaker, partner A, is gonna speak, and partner B, all you have to do is listen, okay? But focus listening, and listening mindfully, okay? All right, so we're gonna start now. So partner A, go ahead and talk for 3 minutes. Okay, all right, that's 3 minutes. So everyone put up your hands so we can all stop talking. Yes, so you hear me? Raise your hand if you can hear me. All right. Raise your hand if you can hear me. I know it's hard to stop the listening once you start, right? It is. I know, just getting to the interesting part, right? Okay. So now what we're going to do is switch. And again, so now partner B is going to speak. Partner A is going to listen. And again, this is not a conversation. This is just listening, okay? Being there in the moment, focus and listening to what your partner's sharing with you. All right? Okay, ready? Go, partner B. Okay, all right, that's our time. Everybody raise your hands if you can hear me. Raise your hands, yes? So we'll bring our attention back into this moment. Let me have you focus your attention on me for a moment. And how was that experience? Wonderful. Yes? Anyone else? Yes? What was that like? What was it like having to listen to someone and not interrupt them? Yes?
While you're listening, you're thinking of questions.
Yes, that's right. So this happens a lot. So you're listening, but what's going on in your mind? You're not really listening because you're trying to come up with questions to ask, right? Yes, so what's happening? I'm not listening. That's what happens. So we're not hearing what the other person is saying because I'm really thinking about the future, right? Instead of being in that moment. Can you see how that makes a difference?
Yes.
So, and how was it to be listened to? How did it feel having someone just listen to you, not interrupt you, just listen to you? How did that feel? Finally! Great! Right? Yes.
You want to respond though.
Yeah, you right? Like we're trained to respond. Yes. But what if you tried this practice every day? What if, again, this is a focused attention practice. What if you every day sat down with someone and said, hey, let's practice mindful listening. You speak for 3 minutes, I'll then speak for 3 minutes, and then you can share the experience. So what was it like? And over time, you'll find that that urge to interrupt diminishes. That urge to have questions, it diminishes. And it allows you to be in the moment. And for me, I think that is a great gift to have someone give you 3 minutes of their time and really listen to you. Like really listen to what you have to say and to be there with you. And it's just 3 minutes. Do you think we could do this every day? Yes? For every day? Yes. Yes. Yes.
When you speak, you say something you already know, but if you listen, you may learn something.
That's right. You may learn something. Very good observation. You may just learn something. Yes? And did you feel it also creates a deeper connection with the person that you're speaking to? Because you end up with that heart connection. Because I care about you, I want to listen to you, and I want you to share with me. And I'm here for you. So, very simple practice, but very powerful. Very powerful, right? Not being interrupted, right? Steve?
My favorite part of doing this is I remember so much more of the conversation than I would otherwise.
okay.
I would not be able to recall a conversation for 3 minutes. But in this practice, because 3 minutes where I'm just focusing on hearing
Yes.
them, I can recall almost 90% of the
Right.
conversation.
And so what is that doing? That's helping our memory, right? It's helping our focus. It's helping our concentration. And it's rewiring our brain because I'm doing it for 3 minutes, right? So guess what? Now I've got you up to 8 minutes a day, right? So we had 5 minutes for the breath awareness, yes. 3 minutes, actually 6 minutes, because if you both share that 6, 11 minutes a day. We're already up to 11. Yay, yes, all right, 11 minutes a day. So good. So any other questions or comments or experiences? Yes, please.
I think when you have a hearing problem, which a lot of the time,
Yes,
I self-include,
yes.
this is all fine. But when you have a hearing problem, I can't see it.
It's more difficult.
That,
Yes, but could you still try and
well,
look focus to the other person and watch what they're saying, feel what they're saying to you?
well, that's what you have to do.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
Well, my own experience, I just avoid dealing with people.
Yeah, right? Right. But
Or where you need to share.
yeah,
I agree.
yes. But it's
I
so
stay in my room.
just stay in your room, yeah. My father's the same way. Stays in the room, same way.
With a hearing problem.
Yes. And I'm always talking about, okay, I understand, but I'm always encouraging him to have these conversations with me and to do this, to get out of the room. That's right.
That makes a big difference.
Yes. Well, I feel, yes, you have
So many of us.
a wonderful community here. And I feel that you could get support. And what I've also learned over the years is that when we communicate, there are the words that you're hearing, but there's a lot of intelligence going on between two individuals that's beyond the words. Because I've traveled all over the world. I've been on 6 continents. And I speak English, and I don't speak other languages, but what I find is when I go to other countries and I listen to someone, even though I cannot speak their language, I understand what they're saying to me. And I can understand because I use mindful listening. And I'm with them, and I'm feeling what they're communicating to me, and I get it.
agree with you.
Yes. So I'm going to invite you to come out of your room, everyone. Yes, and speak with.
Come out, Betty, come out.
Come out, Betty. There you go. All right. Do we have a question? Okay, we're good. All right. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Helen. Yes.
Being that
Yes.
we have, and in order to communicate,
Yes.
we have attention being very high.
Yes.
Body language,
Body language. Yes.
facial expression,
Yes.
tone of voice, we may not be able to hear, but we can see through body language, facial expression,
Yes.
and anything that we can see.
Yes. That is a very good point. I want to share with everyone. Do you know that communication, only 7% of communication is words? 93% of communication is body language. It's the body, the face, the hands, the smile, the eyes. 93%. So I'm just going to share that with you. Yes. So it's possible to still be communicating. Yes. Without the words. Yes. Thank you. And reading lips, yes. So as I'm focused on you, again, using a mindful listening technique, if I'm really focused on you, and I'm really focused on your face, I'm going to get that communication. Yes. Good job, everyone. Good job. All right, well, I think we are running out of time, but I have one more technique that I would like to share with you. And Steve, we have a handout, so let's share that. Oh, I don't know why. There it is. So we've learned the breath awareness practice, right? Which that's a 5-minute a day. We've just learned mindful listening. Uh-oh, that's another 6 minutes. Yes. And this technique is called the stop technique. And let me ask you this. How many of you have in any way felt upset today? Yeah? How many of you in any way have felt upset this week? Yes? Right? All of us. All of us. All of us, right? So I like to, oh, we're doing the handouts. Does everybody have one? Oh, look at that, we had a larger group than we anticipated. We'll get some more copies. That's awesome. Okay, so on this handout that we're sharing with you, on the front, there are the 2 practices we just did. There's the steps to the breath awareness, and there's the mindful listening practice. So you have what we just did, you can practice and follow 1, 2, 3, okay? Now, the stop technique. So I like to call this, who pushed my buttons? Okay? Who pushed my buttons? Did someone or something or some circumstance push my buttons? Like, was I frustrated? Was I angry? Did I get upset? We're all human beings. I can guarantee, I know that you get your buttons pushed at least once a week, okay? I know for me, it's like at least once a day, right? Where I can feel something that someone said or some circumstance or situation, and I can feel myself, I can feel that energy coming up in me, and I'm feeling it. That's when I use the stop technique. I use the stop technique in this way. Very simple. When I feel my buttons get pushed, when I feel like I'm getting upset, all I have to do is it's stop. It's S is stop. Just stop and take a breath. T, take a deep breath. So I'm feeling this, I'm getting whatever the emotion is. Let's just say I'm getting angry or frustrated. I'm going to stop what I'm doing and take a pause. I'm going to take a deep breath. So T is for take a deep breath. Always observe. So observe what's going on inside of me. Remember we talked about mindfulness, understanding and feeling what's going on outside of me and inside of me? This is that practice. So observe what's going on inside of me and then proceed. So that's the P, then move forward. Now this is a really simple practice, and I'm going to invite you to try this the next time you feel like you're getting upset, frustrated, angry, any of those emotions coming up. And why would you want to do this? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one is because when you're focusing, again, focusing your awareness, we're rewiring our brains, right? This only takes a moment, and it moves you into the space of choosing a response in a mindful way instead of mindlessly reacting. And I can guarantee you that if you try this practice, you'll find that you're not just, rotely responding to a situation where we may say or do something that we regret, right? But being more mindful in our purpose, being more mindful in every situation. So again, oh good, Steve has some more copies. Who else needed a copy of the handouts? Very good. There you go. Practice at dinner tonight, yes. Practice it all the time. I use it a lot when I'm
Great.
driving.
A lot of caregivers use these too because it's
My buttons get pushed when I'm driving. That's my button pushing time. And I'm always like, okay, just stop, pause, take a breath. What am I feeling? All right, here, I'm not going to drive that person off the road. I'm going to slow down and let them in, So it's that mindful choice, right? Instead of mindlessly reacting. This is really good for our cardiovascular health. Because what happens when you get upset? Your blood pressure goes up, right? But what if, when we start to feel that feeling of getting upset, I can stop. I can take a breath. Just watch what's going on and then proceed in a mindful way. This will help you with your cardiovascular health, and it only takes a moment. So how about that technique? Pretty simple, right? Okay, so the next time you feel like your buttons got pushed, how many of you are going to try this? Yes? Yes, and you can share this with others, and you can remind people, stop, just stop, and let that go. All right, great. So, I'm going to wrap it up here, because, yes, yeah? All right, good. So, I want to encourage you now to use your new tools. You've learned some very simple tools that you can use every day, and there's some community support here, right? Where you can actually do this and integrate this into your environment here. Where we're doing, again, the breath awareness practice, we can do that as a group in 5 minutes. So we'll talk to your activities director, and we'll talk to Laura, how can we add that into what's being offered here? Yes? And our mindful listening, so we're going to do that every day. with someone, listen mindfully, rewire the brain, and then our stop practice, So reflecting on today, I want to ask you a question and I'd like you to share with me. We did cover a lot of material today, and so when you think back on learning breath awareness practice and the mindful listening and your new stop technique, what is your biggest takeaway from today? Take time to listen. Beautiful. See? Always take time to listen. I love that. Anyone else? Yes.
Your body can do a lot for you.
Your body can do a lot for you. Your brain can do a lot for you. And you can rewire your brain. Yes. Any other takeaway? Yes. The stop technique. Yes. Yes. Very good. Anyone else? Any other takeaways from today? Yes? That I know we're going to do this. Yes, we are.
I learned to stop. This morning I had a disaster.
Oh.
My toilet broke through.
Uh-oh.
Water all over the bed.
What else is there?
Uh-oh.
And I had to wait for a while. But they're fixing it now.
Okay.
And I'm so excited. It upset me.
Right? So there's an upsetting situation. So there's an upsetting situation that's occurring, and you have that stop technique. You can use it, right? You can actually use it and just stop. Because what happens, you feel the emotions coming up. We're all human beings. We all have emotions. That's what our bodies are for. They're to feel the emotions, and it's a good thing. But we also want to have some self-management around those emotions that are coming up, especially living in a community like this, right? That's very important to be able to be aware of and choose your response. Yes? So very good. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Anything else? Any other questions? Any other questions for me while I'm here?
How is Florida?
I love Florida. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. So I kept moving south till I got to Florida, till it stopped snowing. So I love Florida. Thank you. Well, Steve and I really want, come on up here, Steve. We really want to thank you for your time today. This has been a real treat for us to be able to share with you. And I hope that you will make the choice to use these mindfulness practices in your day and to support each other too in integrating them into your day and into your community. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. We really appreciate it. And like Laurel said, when we do this regularly, it helps us to stay sharp. That's the whole goal. We want to keep this working as much as we possibly can. Now, we also have a quick, just if you would, and if Nick and Nicole could also help with this, just some feedback. What did you think of the presentation? If you would share some thoughts, we would always appreciate it, how we could improve it, what was your favorite part or whatever. So everyone would feel free to do that. We'd appreciate it. And again, thank you.